would it be youtube.com/amovetv2?
Yes. amove2. And hey, wouldn't you know it, no drop frames. Because it's definitely a problem with Twitch. Okay. We're live. Can I hear myself? I can hear you.
Okay.
All right, let's pop out the chat. Now, I didn't try a different server, but I wonder, because I bet Dollars to Donuts, New York is the auto server, so I wonder if it's just a New York server, and that's why other Twitch channels aren't having problems. But this is working, so I'm going to run with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, Barson. Hey, Alpharak. Yeah. I can see if I'm getting drop frames or not. And the second I hit go live on YouTube, no issue. Twitch will not work. So give me a second. I'm just getting a tweet together. Bad and just server on Twitches. That would make sense. That would make sense. Sorry, what was that?
Gwyneth Paltrow is tweeting her NTF monkey?
NFT?
Yeah.
I mean, everyone's doing it. Jimmy Fallon was promoting his NFT on The Tonight Show, and everybody's mad. And the only thing that surprises me about that is that anyone that has an opinion watches The Tonight Show.
It's Prime Video Game time.
What was that?
That's Prime Video Game time.
It is Prime Video Game time. It is Prime Video Game time.
Oh my God.
Becoming more and more Prime sleeping time for my butt. All right. ITN tweet is out.
Cool. I have updated the patrons.
Oh, this is interesting. It embeds for your tweet. Our stream is right there.
Oh, yeah. I guess it embeds videos, right? So
yeah, that's interesting. That's cool.
ITN, hope this works. Twitch is dumb. Nice.
I mean,
subtitle.
Listen, dude. Sometimes you just gotta tell it like it is. It's a story in 3 acts. Alrighty. So we're all live there. Sounds good. Cool beans. Say my name, say my name. Hey Tyler, how you doing?
We're watching this on we're watching this stream affect my algorithm.
Well, watching in a bad way?
Yeah.
We're on amove2. Who cares? This isn't the Final Fantasy 14 channel, so I'm not worried about the algorithm over here. No offense if this is how you get the show, by the way, but I don't really get excited about 300 views. Yeah, Barson, I haven't had a single issue streaming TAC. And last week, it seemed to be like it was only an issue at the very beginning. The second we reset the stream last week, it was fine. So
maybe it gives you some sort of Canadian... No, because that's just Discord and the sound.
Well, I manually made the server attached to New York and still got drop frames. So my current hypothesis is that the New York server is bad. And that's probably where it was going when it was auto, because it is the closest server for me. And all I probably did was manually connect it to the same server. I should have tried another one, but whatever. Here we are now. It's working. Let's do a show.
All right.
You want to do a show?
I want to do a show. Let's do a show.
Let's do a show. Let's do an extremely timely show.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Into the Nexus, episode 410, records live in 3, 2, 1. Into the Nexus is a production of amove.tv. Bookmark Amove TV for other great video games and esports podcasts. Into the Nexus is sponsored by listeners like you via patreon.com/ITN. Greetings and welcome back, everyone. This is Into the Nexus, the podcast all about Heroes of the Storm. And today it's going to be all about some Blizzard business because we didn't really have a chance to chew the fat about the announced Microsoft, Blizzard, Activision, King, all the merger because we had freaking CCL finals to talk about last week and we were hanging out with Just Things. So this is going to be an extremely timely and breaking news episode. I'm Garrett Weinzierl. Here as always with Kyle Fergusson. What's up?
To be fair, everyone else, I feel like, was jumping the gun because this stuff continued to come out through the weekend. We didn't even have a lot of official statements yet as of last Thursday. However, you know,
I look forward to getting to those official statements because I think they're it's a lot of BS that doesn't actually add much to everything.
True. You know, it's already old, ancient news. Everybody has moved on. However, we are affected by these things. And in fact, just a few weeks ago, I was talking about transparency and letting us know what's going on. And I guess they did that. You know, this is about as transparent as corporations get. Okay,
yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Step in the right direction.
Were we talking about that with Blizzard? Because I think I've just been yelling about that with the Heroes team, and they continue to remain as quiet as World of Warcraft developers.
Oh yes, no, I'm just saying we now know where some of the team went in the unannounced survival game or the announced survival thing. We'll talk about later.
Thing. I got theories, man. It's all part of the plan, dude. It's all a part of their big. About face. You got to put new paint on the haunted house.
It's a magic trick. It feels like, look at this hand, and meanwhile, stuff's still bad, stuff's still weird. This whole thing
Bobby Kotick is indeed still a monster.
Yeah, we'll talk about that too. What a bizarre time. Plus, there's a weird bug in the game right now, and it's been in the game for about 6 months, but I just experienced it last night. A lot of people have said they've had this before, where the game thinks you haven't placed, but because you've got 35 games on your account, you can't play a Storm League at all. And last night, the team was trying to practice for NGS. We all had to log in about 5 times each one of us sharing this bug at another time as we had 5 people together, you know, increasing the numbers, increasing the chances that someone would experience this bug. But it straight up locks you out of the queue.
That is unfortunate.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
So before we get into the whole Microsoft business, how other than a game-breaking bug, how is Heroes going for you?
Good. We placed Nexus division, which is below the tournament, if you would call it professional level of...
I would call it professional level. Some of the teams in there are professional level.
Yeah. So we're right below that, which is shocking. There's lots of teams I recognize, like Running Wild and Gilly Sharks. So we're amongst the company that we previously had in NGS, and I believe the Nexus division is recently new, like last 2 seasons, and as we didn't play in the last season, it may have not existed at that time. So we are gearing up, and we are attempting to get our stuff under control, get our shot calling figured out. We lost some games last night in our 5-stack, which is great, because, you know, we went up very, very quickly, 7 games in a row winning, and then had some nice losses last night to kind of give us a challenge and help us work through some things. But I am frazzled by their website. And I first commend the mod team that is working with Nexus Gaming Series, But their website is really, really freaky. It has some bizarre it's time for me to schedule games. I'm team captain. I get in there, it's like, all right, here's the enemy team schedule. And I'm like, these times are scary. What they want to start at 9 p.m. at night? No, those were Eastern times, but it was showing them as Pacific time. So okay, we recovered. I recovered from that. I went to their page, I saw their time zones, I figured out. I'm like, so submit your time you'd like to play at. And I'm like, awesome. Perfect. I don't have to talk to anybody. This is what a gamer wants. All right, like put in my time, 7 p.m. Bam, enter. It's like submitted and sealed. What? What do you mean? Like, isn't there an approval process that the enemy team has to go through? No, you're supposed to like talk outside of the website and then go to the website and do what I did once you've had a conversation by yourselves, team captains, approving said time.
Oh. Hey,
So
Kyle,
now we gotta get
have
the
I ever
mods
mentioned?
involved and
Have I ever mentioned that I'm currently in a master's program at the University of Florida for digital strategy? Yeah, I took a user experience course. It was one of the first things that I took, and everything you just said is setting off a lot of alarms.
it'll be okay. Like I don't know. I don't really want to like talk to my enemies. We're all friends, but like having to like get so chummy. I want the machine to handle it.
Yeah, that sounds frazzling. That sounds frazzling. You know what's been frazzling for my opponents in quick match?
You gonna brag?
A what?
You gonna brag? Is that what you're
yeah,
about to do?
I was about to.
All
I was
right.
about to tee it up. It's an Illidan all up in their face. I have done nothing but play quick match Illidan for 2 weeks, and I've been having so much fun.
Nice.
I cannot express how much fun I have been having, except when you and I play together, because everyone at home, Kyle and I have been doing this like friendly trade thing where he heals my bullshit Illidan, and then I'll trade off and be like, all right, buddy, I'll heal. What do you want to play?
And you usually hear my bullshit, something like Mephisto or
Dude,
something
you
like
do
that.
your Sylvanas is fantastic. There's nothing bullshit about it.
Thanks.
You are you have gotten stupid accurate with mind control.
It's a great spell. It's amazing.
I really struggle to think of a time outside of watching pro play as a spectator where I've seen a Sylvanas like so consistently land mind control. Teach me your secrets.
It's about watching till they stand still. Stukhovs put their hands in the ground. Illidan's flip over top of you. There's moments where everyone's gonna take a break.
That's a good way to think of it. That's a good way to think of it.
Tassadars do their shock ray, and they do kind of a bzzz, and they're standing still.
Yeah. Now to walk back my brag, I am in dire need of education on how to do well with Illidan, where you don't just hope you get to 20 and start winning, because boy, my death count is high. It's pretty much just an exercise in worthing it until like about 16, and then I actually start surviving engagements.
That sounds about right. Yeah, a lot of it is knowing your limits and jumping those walls for the early kills to get you to that late game, as well as like noticing when XP gets burned and when it crashes. I'm on a team now with Cavalier Guest is doing our off laning. So I hear a lot of stuff about how they're burning their XP. I totally got them 3 minions missed on their side. And, we send a distant thumbs up, to the top lane. We're like, good job up there, whatever that means. And it's great. But probably tricks like that. Just getting ahead, staying ahead, and being to that level you want to be before others.
Good to know. It's been going well, though. This week I've lost one quick match. One.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's been a good week. It's just been a lot of fun. I've just been in the search of fun after the roll of the new year.
As a just raw amount of games, I've become a rather efficient Anduin, which is really enjoyable with Mockery because he gets to go really crazy. I grabbed the double leap of faith. Is that what it's called? Leap of faith? The grab, life grab.
That would be leap of faith, yes.
Yeah.
I don't know why, because they're not putting their faith in you. You are forcing faith in you upon them.
You can also desperately pray for yourself. So, there's holes in the theme, but it's fine. I guess if it's an entity outside yourself, it can heal you. But, still, to desperately pray for yourself seems weird. At any rate, lots and lots of lots and lots of Anduin. Gotten really good at that, but I got to improve my Brightwing.
Okay, so what are you working on with Brightwing?
Mainly like what to target when. Uh, some situations are very, very easy with the soothing mist because you just hit that button when a Malfurion root comes up, for instance. Like those are very easy to dodge. But when there's lots of mini CCs going out, it's depending on how your shot calling is, you might be able to polymorph the target. But oftentimes, this is why we're practicing. We have Mockery and Porky making two different calls and Crushinator's on the tank, and he's kind of picking out what he can see and playing aggressive there with like Murden or Diablo. And I think we just have a lot of different calls happening at once. So polymorph is very confusing for me. And I'm probably like over lane clearing with my spit rather than trying to heal. So it's a lot of micromanagement. I wish you could use the top bar for teleports on Brightwing, like the very top bar of the screen, and select that as your
Oh,
phase shift,
just click on the face.
hyper shift. Yeah,
that's fair, especially if you got a clustered comp.
right. And I got there's health bars up there. I'm pretty sure you can use the mini map to do it, right?
Yeah, I believe that works. Again, though, if they're clustered, you're no guarantee
Yeah.
you're going to get the right portrait.
Yeah. So there's some difficulty there. Haven't gotten a single Stukov or Rhaegar game just because of bans. But it's really, I mean, it's delightful, getting to play this late into the game's life in the NGS as a support healer with Mockery and Porky being, these crazy high tier Grandmaster assassins. It's a very fun, reactionary to an extent kind of role. And Anduin's just awesome. Oh my goodness. Anduin is really, really good. He's got a level 20 talent where he transforms his root into a stun and you can get Pierce on it. So you do 2 stuns. It's actually amazing.
I every time, and we're gonna do it tonight. Every time we have a patron bonanza and we play ARAM, because it's usually the only time I play ARAM. Not that I don't enjoy it. It's really a lot of fun when we're all on comms hanging out. But every time I get into it, I'm always like, why don't I play more of this hero? Because he really clicks for me. I really like Anduin a lot, like a lot. I talk about how there's a certain old school Heroes of the Storm jank that I really like. Like I call it like the tech alpha feel. Like all of the old heroes kind of have this a little more of a lumbering jank feel, but it's a good kind of jank. It's a jank that I like and I respond to. And Anduin, I think, is the newest hero to kind of have that feel and feel that way.
Poor Arthas. Well, we've actually come full circle. We're back to it. I can't believe it. Slug Hunter this morning made a tweet that we have Arthas at home. Arthas at home is Rhaegar's totem. Yep. And my goodness. Actually, wait, that's kind of backwards. Don't people usually want McDonald's and the at-home burgers are rough?
It is backwards. Usually the at-home thing is worse than the thing you're asking for.
Can we have totem? Yeah, and then we have Arthas at home.
Yeah, it would have been.
You did it backwards.
I want Rhaegar's totem, and you'd be like, "Oh, we already have Rhaegar's totem at home," and the Rhaegar's totem at home would be the entire hero of Arthas.
Yeah, I don't blame Slug Hunter. They're a great player. I really
know
enjoy
what the difference
them.
between Rhaegar's totem and Arthas is?
I make this look good.
Rhaegar's totem is hard to kill.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. As we've both, talked over the last 2 months now or so, Rhaegar's totem is really, really enjoyable. I look forward to a tame balance update of it, and I'd rather see Arthas moved into, and other things moved into totem's kind of power sphere.
It's I like totem too, man. I love playing Rhaegar. It's a lot of fun. He's really good. This isn't a I want totem nerfed so that Arthas can feel better. I want Arthas buffed so he feels like a real hero again. That would be nice. But anyways, man. Yeah,
it's a savage comparison, man. Just instant slow, and Arthas has to build up.
Build up gross. And like stay there. Like what if you just what if you could just instantly make a more effective slow appear?
Yeah.
Well, you can. And it's attached to one of the best healers in the game. It's good stuff. I'm curious when Rhaegar's going to start making it through drafts for you, because boy, was there a lot of Rhaegar in the CCL finals.
Yeah, so that was because the individual picks were so powerful that you had to deny them on the enemy side. So they were taking a chance, of course,
Yeah.
but what you do in Storm League is you cast very wide nets. You have to say, chances are no one plays Malfurion, so we're not going to ban it, even though it's perfect for this comp.
Oh, see, I was thinking about when you get to, for some reason, I thought you were talking about NGS games, but I guess those haven't fired up yet, have they?
Yeah, because we're in Storm League practicing for the NGS right now.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Because I was about to say, I'm like, wait, you've got Mockery, so there's at least a guaranteed Tracer ban. You're not that far from CCL land.
I'm excited about that. We have a guaranteed probably Tracer and Medivh ban for us. Beyond that, I'm not sure what the enemy team will do, but there's also like it has to kind of populate a little bit because all that information ends up in Hero's profile. And then only after maybe 3 weeks of games in the NGS is that actually filled out to something you can experience. It's best of 3 as well. So some of those go 2 games and you look at it and you go, are they an Orphea main? Should we ban Orphea? I don't know.
Do you ever come up against ones with data erasure? Because I get data erasure requests over on Hotslogs a decent amount, and I assume they're League players.
Oh, just like wanting it removed and gone?
Yep.
There are teams that will not run things tactically, but I don't think you can avoid it. You have to upload the replay to NGS to prove the game was played. They have a lot of protections. It makes me sad. It really does. Like they have a lot of systems in place because clearly people cheated or they abused the system. And we've seen this with tournament players, and a lot of pro gamers. Anything you can do to get ahead, ban talents that haven't been banned yet. Like people take a lot of advantage of things. The loot cave from Destiny is always one that sticks in my head as just like an absolute moment of society-wide insanity.
I love stuff like that. I was there. I sat at the loot cave. I made some friends.
I just wouldn't do it. Like
I just made some friends. You come out there and you're like, I want to see what it's all about. I just want to experience it. And while you're just sitting there bored out of your skull getting a lot of free crap, you talk to people. You make friends. It's like waiting in line for a concert.
People waiting in line at Disney World for Figment-shaped popcorn bags so that they can like take them online.
Okay, dude, I went to Epcot last weekend. I was there, man. I walked past the stand. You know what was around it? And instead of people, it was a bunch of signs saying we're completely out of Figment buckets.
Yeah, because people go take them and sell them online. And so I've got this issue where I'm like, who's buying these? But also, who does? And I know you can make a you can like flip that. People are in the Goodwills with magnets looking for real silver. It happens. But, the loot cave. The loot cave is like the paramount example of I would not do this. I value my time differently. And you do you.
I feel differently about it in video game stuff. I wouldn't go wait in line for a Figment bucket. That is not something I would do. But I don't know. It's all relative, right, man? I don't know. I used to get super stoked about going to midnight releases. Like that was a thing. That was an event, and it was like that. I liked the cultural zeitgeist of it all. It was fun, and boy, now do I have a lot of nostalgia for it because it's. Just straight up, they already basically died out before COVID because you just download shit and play when they flip the switch. And now COVID, it's just we're never going to have midnight releases ever again. There's no point.
I mean, I had to set an alarm for New Year's this year. Like I straight up fell asleep.
Oh, damn. I thought I was gonna. And we started getting sleepy and then we found Miley Cyrus's New Year's Eve from Miami instead of the one we were watching in New York, and it was exactly what you would expect a Miley Cyrus event held in Florida for New Year's to be. It was so entertainingly trashy. I loved every minute of it.
Meets expectations then. Yeah, no, we were watching Ancient Aliens and fell asleep. So, we probably should have put on something more exciting.
And no shade on Miley Cyrus, by the way. Damn, she can sing. Anyways.
No shade to Ancient Aliens.
I enjoy no shade. No, who doesn't love Ancient Aliens? Come on.
Everybody loves it. Unless you are thinking you're going to watch the History Channel for real, you love Ancient Aliens.
Jim Raynor does voiceover for that show. What's not to love? Come on. Yeah, that's right. I can make anything about Heroes of the Storm.
I think this was a really important cap to today's conversation because we're going to talk a lot of Blizzard-centric stuff. and overall corporate maneuvers.
Oh yeah,
But it's very much in a here's the storm of light.
Yeah, that being said, though, we have an excuse to talk about StarCraft today. I haven't talked about StarCraft with my good buddy Kyle in a long time. We're gonna have a good chat. But before we do that, let's thank the folks supporting us over at patreon.com/ITN. It's the best way to support Kyle and myself. If you like what we do, if you like the content that we're creating, whether you give $1 or more, we really freaking appreciate it. Check it out, patreon.com/ITN. You'll get into our Discord. You can also join us for our monthly game nights, which we are doing tonight. Another patron bonanza. We'll be kicking off tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern time. If you want to tune in live, check out twitch.tv/Kyle Fergusson. Providing Twitch is working. We're on YouTube today. Hi, YouTube live stream. How you doing? Because Twitch just wouldn't work for me for some reason. I thought it was my upload, but then I went to YouTube and everything was perfectly fine. So here we are on A Move 2, where you can go find the VOD collection of past live streams of Into the Nexus and the Angry Chicken. So anyways, check out patreon.com/ITN to our latest patrons, Kellen Bloomberg, Batmens, so many Batmens, Kyle, and Stephen B. Jinsao. Thank you so much for supporting us. Thank you so much for going to patreon.com/ITN and deciding that we're worth at least $1. I appreciate it.
Nice. Stuff. I was drinking water. You got me there. I had to take a moment.
How dare I? You're reminding me that I wish I had gotten water before this, but we will sally forward and get to today's main topic of conversation, which is the news that broke last week that Microsoft is purchasing Activision Blizzard King.
Yes. So when they said they were evaluating their decisions and their relationship with Activision Blizzard, they meant they were currently at that time looking to purchase the entire darn package, and we're thinking about maybe not doing it? Or did that spur them on to make this purchase?
It sure seems this is such a historical business deal. I mean, the magnitude of it, it's one of the biggest buyouts ever. It is the biggest buyout in the history of Microsoft. And let that sink in. Microsoft has never spent more money on anything than this.
It's absolutely an insane amount of money. They could have bought a country.
They probably could have bought a few countries, depending on the country. Yeah. You want to make some private island jokes? I'm sure they could have bought the Caribbean. I don't know what the Caribbean is. No shade on the Caribbean. I have no idea.
No, I haven't seen the price tag in a while.
I'm thinking of small land masses, not necessarily your net worth.
But it is absurd. So, totaling at, the estimate around, of course, 70 billion?
It was 68 point something. They couldn't give us the meme-worthy 69 billion. A lot of places just rounding up to 70. If you're going to round up, go to 69 billion. What are you doing?
What are you doing? This is video games we're talking about here.
You could make such nice headlines with that roundup.
It is absurd. All of Star Wars bought for $4 billion.
It's also the same price that Marvel was purchased for by Disney.
Because I can't fathom it. Because they were just like intellectual ideas that were made by people, and this is actual brick and mortar building companies, employees currently there. Like, how?
Yeah, you're buying so many studios, so many. I've got there was a list here. Where was it? It was in the official Xbox statement. And this isn't even all of them, but this is shorthand: Activision, Blizzard, Beanox, Demonware, Digital Legends, High Moon Studios, Infinity Ward King, Major League Gaming, Radical Entertainment, Raven Software, Sledgehammer Games, Toys for Bob, Treyarch, and quote, every team across Activision Blizzard. You're not just, like, you buy Lucasfilm, what are you buying? You're basically essentially buying the IP for Star Wars and Indiana Jones. You buy Marvel, what are you buying? You're essentially buying all the Marvel superheroes. Yes, there's a ton of them, but you think about when Disney bought that, how many of them were worth much? Not that many, and Sony and Fox had the rights to the good ones when that deal went down.
Was that
Year,
pre-Iron Man that happened, or was it post?
it was pre-Iron, or I think it was. I want to say it was technically post, but like it was right at the end. I want to say the deal closed shortly after Iron Man released. Don't quote me on that. Anyways, yeah, this is this is a freaking planet's worth of intellectual property.
Yeah,
It's so much. It is truly so much. And yes, the travesty that is the leadership at ABK is very fresh in our minds over the last few years. And yes, we've been watching that stock price just plummet until news of this broke. But it's still a massive conglomerate with that just prints money. And
it is
so that's
insane.
All of that said, that is where my brain is at when you say, do you think this was a reactionary purchase? Like, I don't think this purchase is possible without the last year of Activision Blizzard fallout and controversy. Like I look at this and it's not a fun way to look at it, but I look at this and be like, oh, that's why Bobby's still on the board. That's why Bobby hasn't been ousted or hasn't just left because he's sick of this and it's bad for his health. It's like, oh, this is how he's like, no, wait, I can get paid to leave.
Right. Now, and this is part of the big relationship that we will continue to have with Blizzard for the next year at the very least. So the deal is not complete yet. We are currently in the limbo and transaction period of the acquisition of Activision Blizzard. They will be independent until this is completed.
Yeah,
sometime in the next year.
Yeah, the fiscal year for Microsoft ends, I believe, March, June of next year, and that's when this is scheduled to complete.
So 2023 March is kind of where we're eyeballing this. But as the quote says from Phil Spencer, once the deal is complete, the Activision Blizzard business will report to me as CEO, Microsoft Gaming.
Yep. Phil Spencer, CEO of Microsoft Gaming. Yeah, I got to talk a decent amount about this on Angry Chicken, and we talked a little bit about it last week, and obviously I talked about it on Twitter. So I apologize any repeats that happen here, but I do really for me, it's really important to talk about where my brain's at with all of this. Is because it is hard not to look at this as a net positive, because it's just well, leadership has been so poor. Really, any type of change would likely be looked upon as a good thing. Although what's come out since, Kyle, is that Facebook was looking at buying Activision Blizzard. And I think the general gaming community response would have been a lot different if it was Facebook.
Yeah.
I certainly, listen, my gut reaction is, oh, cool, this is good news. I like Microsoft and I like Phil Spencer. And this is where I think I'm going to repeat myself a little bit from things I've said on Twitter, which is, if anything with all of the Activision Blizzard bull over the last many years has taught me, it's being a fan of a corporation is a suspect endeavor. But yeah, I like what Microsoft does. And I think from the outside looking in, Phil Spencer has a good head on his shoulders. So yeah, right. my gut reaction is I like this news.
That's where I think that you kind of make the switch, and has always been very important. There's always the saying, don't meet your heroes, but that has become very true for corporations. Phil Spencer, though, has a lot of goodwill built up. The scary thing is, are they going to spend it now? Because Activision Blizzard in a deficit of goodwill. Phil Spencer's taking a huge risk, taking this under his wing, Microsoft's umbrella. And now, when that transaction completes, they will be held accountable for whatever continues to go on in Blizzard. And it does go on. It does continue to go on. We're seeing the Raven software business still just be a mess, as well as other factors going on over there. But they have a interesting track record at Microsoft. And one of the things that I find inspiring about this changeover, again, can it get any worse? Is an easy way to put it. This seems like a positive just looking at it from the front. But Microsoft has been, maybe not in the terms of ports and keeping it available on the current Xbox, Microsoft has done a really good job preserving the games that they make and making sure that those continue to be available for a very long time. And what I'm really excited about is Microsoft takes a lot of risks. And I don't mean like creative madhouses. I just mean they're willing to make a game that isn't going to blockbust. Age of Empires, for instance, that's not a property that's going to make you billions.
No, but and you're absolutely right. This is something I've seen thrown around a lot, and it's probably, to me, as a player of games, the thing that excites me most. Like, there's all these different sides, right? The part of me that likes and respects and is friends with some developers at Blizzard, I'm really excited because I think this is going to be a positive shift for leadership. The side of me who just likes playing games is excited because I think this is going to free up the whole ABK lineup of intellectual properties to have a lot less pressure on each individual release to be a billion-dollar product.
Exactly. And if there can be that experimentation, then games can evolve and grow. We're seeing a similar, or at least I'm seeing, maybe where it is a large word, but I'm seeing a similar like restriction on things like Dungeons and Dragons right now. The corporate entity that is Wizards of the Coast is afraid to innovate. Something that is played in your imagination. It seems absurd, but they don't want to break their current money-making machine that is their fifth edition. And more companies are kind of becoming restrictive like this.
Well, they also, remember how fourth edition went.
That is true. That's or how they sort of eventually broke third edition, and fifth edition hasn't reached that breaking point yet. Either way, it's really exciting to see that opportunity for just a game to come out because they're passionate about making it, and they've already perhaps put a toe in that door. Really creepy announcement time on the whole new survival game business, but it does seem to be fueling a freedom that they otherwise wouldn't have in terms of just raw bucks.
Yeah, I've explained to you the concept of the and this applies to all industries, but of course it's coming from me, so it's this the whole concept of SUVs and sports cars, right?
Yeah, you've told me, but I think it's a great analogy. Go for it.
Yeah, but no, yeah, it's the whole thing where it's like in the car world, if you're a car enthusiast, you're excited about like sports cars and performance vehicles, but they don't sell a lot of units. You know what does? Trucks and SUVs. So yeah, that's why a lot of auto manufacturers have like 3 to 7 SUVs and trucks and like 1 to 2 performance vehicles, because you need the big massive sellers to fund the R&D for the low volume cars that don't pay the bills. And for the last modern history of Blizzard, it seems like everything needed to be this big, ridiculous billion-dollar success. And it's led to, I don't know, it's hard for me not to look at it and go, yeah, that's why we only got one freaking expansion for Diablo 3. And then we just started rehashing crap like Warcraft 3 Forged. And a lot of people like it. But for me, like Diablo 2 Immortal, I'm just like, or not Immortal. Diablo 2 Resurrected, I'm just like, why couldn't we get another expansion for 3? I liked 3. I would much rather play more 3.
For me, Overwatch is a great example of this. A successful game, by all means, and absolutely a moneymaker. But at that time, I was playing World of Warcraft, StarCraft, Here's the Storm. And because I was in that sphere, Overwatch was the side product. And all of us together went and played it for a time and then left. It didn't have to become something big in that case. The fact that it may have fueled or could have fueled development on the games we were enjoying would be an excellent side product, but that's not how they treated it. And that's what we're seeing out of Microsoft is these smaller games that they're willing to foster and let be created and maybe released during a time when they're not perfect. There certainly is no company is immune to the release too early problem right now.
No, not at all. The one I think about a lot, and it's another company that's been embroiled in controversy and bad business practice and leadership, is Ubisoft. They're another one that on at least the game side of things, it feels like a lot of times things release in not the best state. And the big one that I always come back to with them is Rainbow Six Siege. Like that game released and no one cared. It it did not get good reviews, and they just kept with it and kept with it and kept with it. And now it has a really vibrant community and a very successful esports scene. Of course, it's an interesting time to bring up Ubisoft because I think they just announced that like the latest Watch Dogs, they're like, we're done. We're just sunsetting it. It's over. And it's the first time they've done that like in recent memory for me. But anyway, they're another one that comes to mind. And also like they remind me of Blizzard for the bad reasons.
It can be very hard as a consumer, and maybe in that way, we got consumer journalism, all these sort of subclasses to what we're up to here on this podcast. But consumer is, certainly one of the primary specs that we put our points into. It can sometimes be very difficult to look at a company and not associate the products, personalities with the creation of it and the company that hosted it. And that's why it's always so insane to think that the Overwatch company is having these problems, but Overwatch is about hope and joy and victory. And you're hearing news right now about Lego Star Wars suffering from crunch. And you're like, really?
A2 Lego?
Bro, are you serious? I mean, yeah, it's got to be made. And I guess there's deadlines, and you decided that this was a proper business practice for some reason. But why take the innocence of Lego and the sound of Lego Yoda dying as a hilarious meme and ruin it like this?
You want to hear a personal thought that doesn't come from the best place, but I want to share it?
Absolutely.
All right, man. All right. Listen, I'm not that far out from my original graduation of college. We're of an age, Kyle, where I graduated with my bachelor's back in 2009 into a god-awful recession. I couldn't find work. I so badly wanted to work at Blizzard or just in games in any way, shape, or form. And I would have taken anything I could have gotten, and I would have happily eaten all the crunch in the world that I could have. And I remember the first time I heard about the concept of crunch, the now infamous buzzword of crunch, I thought to myself, oh, what's the big deal? You have a cool job. I would have worked extra hours to break in, because that was the crushing scenario that I found myself in, and that was how it shaped my worldview. I don't think this way anymore. But there's still a dark part of my brain that goes to, oh man, crunch is only cool when you make good games that people care about, not Lego Star Wars. But that's just me making a bad joke.
And much like your young self being willing to put up with that, there are natural places where, like the harvest on a farm, you have to work a lot of hours. My brother-in-law is a farmer. There are really intense hours when the sun is out. And that does happen. But you do that too much, like flying in World of Warcraft. You ask me to keep proving myself over and over again that I deserve flying. I'm going to go, I'm afraid I don't care. I simply do not want to fly anymore. I've shown you I'm the hero. Just let me fly.
Yeah. And plus, too, like if you want to have a full-on sidebar about like crunch, it's very different when it's your own business too. Like, and it's on you. Like self-administered crunch is way different, and it's a much different, I think, ethical conversation than forced crunch by a leader.
When that leader has the reserves to simply not do that to you, like not have that be a place of culture in your workplace, like, because at that point you're submitting them to crunch. The fact that the sun is up on my brother-in-law's farm and he owns that farm, he's doing that to himself, just like you and I might be up till midnight posting something. Like it, that is a self-motivated drive. But when you're making other people do it, when you have the reserves, and it makes those old stories like Mike Morheim, pulling out his credit card in order to make sure the company could keep running for another several months while they got X game ready, such an awesome moment. But at the same time, that only glorifies this idea of a person who avoided that crunch in the first place. That another innocent thought, right?
Yeah, and like that's the kind of thing, and I am very aware, by the way, that like that mindset of mine is the kind of shit that let leadership at Activision Blizzard get away with what they got away with for so long. It was just no, we're special, so deal with it. It's like, that's kind of shitty. And doesn't even it's the tip of the friggin' iceberg of everything that we've learned since. So, anyways, back to the whole acquisition bit. You want to have a let's maneuver into a fun conversation for a bit.
Okay.
What do you think's going to end up on Game Pass?
So this is really interesting to me, but you can help me out here because I have only briefly owned Game Pass for a time, and I agree, as the meme often suggests, the greatest deal in video gaming. It is true. Like, it is an absurd amount of games.
Oh yeah, I'm sitting here going like, this is such an insane conversation to have, because we're talking about this merger, and there's no way you can't talk about simultaneously being excited and also like, for the love of God, Bobby Kotick is still there, and there's people trying to unionize, and they aren't even giving them the time of day. So to sit there and me go, oh, dude, all I want to do right now is go, oh man, I love Game Pass. It is money that doesn't belong to me, that I don't even think about. I love it so much, and that is how I feel about Game Pass. It is of all of my subscriptions, the one I am happiest to pay.
Right, and to kind of straddle the post crunch conversation, this one we're moving into. I am personally a very speak with my wallet kind of guy, which leaves me often quiet on a lot of these issues because I simply go, wow, awful, and then eject you from my brain, and I will not purchase your product.
You don't buy, yeah, exactly.
Right.
Like that's
so. I pre-ordered Andromeda, and I bought a EA subscription to play Anthem, and for me, same company twice, but still across the board, I'm done.
Boy, am I glad I only paid $15 to play Anthem as opposed to have actually bought the thing.
And technically, I pre-ordered and bought Warcraft 3 Reforged. So, more recent history too. Like that gate came down very hard.
That is definitely one I want my money back on. And I realized there was like an extended refund window on that, but I kind of forgot.
I couldn't do it because it just broke my heart. My hope overcame me that a legacy product like that from my childhood would be fixed, and I did not have I would not throw my hope down the hole like that by returning it.
Well, now I'm even more angry from it because I think efforts to fix that broken pile are part of the reason Heroes of the Storm isn't getting the attention I think it deserves.
I agree, absolutely. So I love having these conversations, and I think it's really interesting to theorize, and also just kind of admit that I'm coming out of my shell in this conversation too, because this is something that I have made a very strong decision about in the background, but often for the joy of video games, tend to keep a little quiet on it. So moving back to the Game Pass kind of conversation, what I do not quite understand is how Xbox Gold works in comparison to the Xbox Game Pass.
I couldn't tell you because ever since getting Game Pass, I've never looked back. Gold used to be what you needed to play online on your Xbox.
Okay. Because if you have a gold account, you can play free-to-play games on an Xbox.
Okay. It's got to be cheaper, right? Wow, it's still a thing. I am learning right now, Kyle, that gold... I figured they just sunsetted this, because, like, what's the point?
Why would you pay a monthly subscription for online service for your Xbox when you can get it with Game Pass?
Yes, that's where my brain goes.
Also, this offers 2 free games a month. Why would you do that with Game Pass available?
Yeah, exactly. And so, yeah, it seems like it's closer to PlayStation Plus, which, another personal anecdote, my annual renewal for PlayStation Plus just went through, and my reaction was, damn it, I should have canceled that, because it seems so poor in comparison to Game Pass.
So what Xbox Gold gives you that kind of gets wrapped into the Game Pass membership is access to free games that you can play online. So the first thing I was curious about is, does Xbox Game Pass host free games? And it does, because you're also kind of encompassing the Xbox Gold. So there is a world for free-to-play games like how StarCraft went eventually, but Heroes of the Storm, to be hosted on the Xbox Microsoft platform.
Yeah, more or less. Yeah, okay, so it looks like Gold is cheaper than Game Pass, but not by a ton. And I think Game Pass still has it still has an option between Xbox only and Xbox plus PC.
You're saving $5 basically.
Right.
So if you are in a world where you're like, I'm here to play this game that I bought and I'm holding the CD on Xbox, you can save $5 a month, and you never ever want to touch any of the games that they just kind of cycle through. Like Netflix. You're not interested in any of the free. There's never a free lunch. My dad, but the other games that would come with the service.
Yeah, it's a lot to wrap my brain around. So it's the kind of thing where it's like this is a product that I really enjoy and I use a lot of. And it's also come to the point where like I don't think about buying new Microsoft games, which I'm a big fan of. I love Forza, I love Halo. I've been playing the crap out of both new entries in those series, and I didn't go out and buy them. I'm just like, oh, I got my Game Pass subscription. I don't need to worry about it.
Because Xbox has such a determination to preserve those games as well, I could see the entire Blizzard roster being available on these Xbox services, which for Here's the Storm would be more exposure. Also, I can't find outside of, kind of your random games, but Microsoft doesn't own a MOBA, and now they do. And there is an opportunity for Here's the Storm to be at least exposed to more people in that way.
Yeah. My brain, there's so much unknown, but I there's no way this is a bad thing for the game we love. Right? There's no way this ends in fewer players of Heroes of the Storm.
Right. They've even said they're going to continue to support the launcher as it is known right now. Of course, that could change, but there have been some. There's a lot
of there's a lot of thoughts there, and like when they said something very similar when they bought Bethesda. They were like, oh, we're going to continue supporting the platforms that all the games are already available on, but that didn't count for new stuff. Like it's like Starfield is not going to PlayStation. So there's that to contend with. So when they say that, it's like, what do they really mean? Like, is it like any Blizzard game that comes out after the acquisition? Is that going to, yeah, sorry, we're not going to put that on Battle.net, or it's going to be on Battle Clippy.
We also had a Coffee came in as a sub. He's a sub on our NGS team. He was playing on an Apple laptop. He couldn't see Junkrat mines. He couldn't see the circles around them because Apple's no longer supported in the classics game department. So,
well, Apple's not really supporting games.
No,
their video cards are jokes.
I don't think this is going to improve Here's the Storm on your Apple product.
No. But my brain goes to Apple ain't helping.
No, that's true.
By any means, yeah. Oh, boy. That's, yeah. I get it. I like the interface, and their hardware looks very pretty.
But what about you? So you asked my opinion on Xbox Game Pass and the Activision products. Do you think that they will get their intact, or will there be savage cuts?
I think basically everything's going to Game Pass that makes sense. The things that where my brain goes on the unknown is like subscription based bits. Like what does World of Warcraft look like? Heroes of the Storm, which is technically free to play. What does that look like on Game Pass? Like if you have a Game Pass subscription, are you going to get a big fat package of heroes for free, or maybe a boost in Heroes of the Storm is included with your Game Pass subscription? Maybe a World of Warcraft subscription is included with your Game Pass subscription. What does it look like? There's also, at least with something like WoW, you can look at ESO, where it does kind of lead to more microtransactions because of its inclusion with Game Pass. So there's that as well, but that's the big unknown for me. Like to me, I don't know. Nothing's been announced. I could be wrong, but it really feels like there's no doubt in my mind that all the Blizzard games that we currently know and are available on Battle.net are probably just going to be like, here you go. Here's your Diablo 3. Here's your StarCraft 2. Here's your Overwatch. Whatever. If it's retail, if it was at one point a box product, I think it's just going to be lumped into the Game Pass library.
One thing I find interesting about this is what we've seen happen with Netflix and Spotify. There are oddities that can take place. Hulu, any of these sort of live streaming services. You'll be watching a movie and it'll start to end and it's like, and here comes your Netflix original. You're like, what? This isn't even remotely close to what I just watched. Why would you do this? Well, that's because they want you to watch the thing they created so they don't have to then pay out to the people who they are sort of renting or paying for the product to be on there. And there's lots and lots of different tiers, if you want to call them, kind of coming from Twitch. But there is a different deal for every type of game that goes on Xbox Game Pass. Sometimes it's just a flat fee. They say, hey, do you want your game to be on Game Pass? They say, yes, pay us X amount, and they do. Other times, they get that sort of transaction fee for every player, every download, and that equals more like Spotify in that way. But Microsoft's going to straight up own Activision Blizzard products. So if you play one of those, they're not paying out. So there's actually more incentive for them to share it and make it a headliner on their Game Pass.
Yeah, absolutely. This makes them very large.
Yes, that is true.
They own a lot of games after this. Another place my brain went was like, I'm really glad it wasn't Valve because I want to see new games out of these studios.
It's been a while, sadly, Half-Life, Alex, what?
Alex.
Yeah. Alex didn't usher in the VR revolution.
No, that's going to be Facebook with their legless people, Kyle. Didn't you see the legless people?
Oh my God, their Second Life clone.
It's the future where we don't know how to animate legs.
I mean, I guess I get, but like Fortnite's been blowing those ideas out of the water for years now.
You know who already has a successful metaverse is freaking Fortnite.
Yeah. I'd love it if it worked. I'm all for, Ready Player One kind of aesthetics here. I mean, except for living in box towers and, the end of functioning civilization. But yeah, the video game part looks fun.
It all starts to feel like a big dump of McDonald's Happy Meal toys to me.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. I'm not the most excited person in the world for a big shared universe. I like the storytelling and secluded universes. Like still, there's merit to that. I don't need Darth Vader to fight Tony Stark.
Unless it's in Heroes of the Storm.
Yes, here we are on a show about a game that is essentially a metaverse unto itself.
It's true. There are possibilities like that. Lots of people have said Masterchief is Rainer and all these sorts of things. It would be really fun to see those tie-ins. I simply don't know. I couldn't find a good example of a huge server shutdown or transfer over in the gaming sphere at Microsoft. Back in the day, long ago, you log into products like MSN Gaming or GameSpy, but those servers simply moved. And as transactions took place, those games continued to be supportive and purchasable. Blizzard as a company, I can't even buy Warcraft 1 or 2. And I own Diablo 2 in its original form, and I can still go get it, but you can't purchase that. Will Microsoft go back and make those things available? Do they care about those sort of things? Or will there be those drastic cuts that they see as the, now parent corporation and say, just shut that off, shut this off, and let's move on?
I'm sure it's going to be a mixed bag, right? Like you said at the start of this, the first mention of Game Pass was that Microsoft's pretty damn good about making sure that the back catalog is playable and functional. There are, of course, cases where that's not always true. The freaking Halo Master Chief Collection is still a buggy mess. But I think they're better than most. And they've certainly caused, I think, at least Sony to be a little bit better about it as well. They seem to trade places. Sony was at one time a lot better about backwards compatibility. Now it feels like Microsoft is. And then off in the corner is Nintendo charging stupid amounts of money to play old crappy games you've probably bought 4 times.
Yeah, it's a very, very expensive service to play a very small selection of their previous games.
But they just added Majora's Mask, Kyle, even though I bought it on 3 separate systems.
Right. And will you buy it again? Maybe, right? Like, I mean, if Microsoft comes in and saves Warcraft 3 and they say you got to buy it again, I have already bought it at what, like 4 times, 5 times, just because I lost discs and went to college and stuff. Like it happens.
Yeah, it's a lot to think about. I don't know. There's other things in my brain where I'm like, does this mean we can make Vicarious Visions a thing again and let them go make good games? Like, I loved what they did with Tony Hawk, and I would love to see more of that.
Well, and there's games like Guitar Hero that even got mentioned in some of these statements, for
Oh,
fun, sort of
God, yeah.
cheeky, but the idea that there are Activision products that have been forgotten about that people are very, very interesting. And meanwhile, too, you have some of the worst bugs plaguing Call of Duty that have ever existed. That's the
Yeah.
flagship that we're all supposed to be riding behind too. We're in the wake of Call of Duty. That's the one. That's the headliner that allows our small game to exist, supposedly.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, there's those like clear winners, right? Like World of Warcraft, like while we look at it now, it's like, it's not as great as it once was. We played in its heyday. It still makes money. It's still a profitable product. You know, they weren't even on the damn image with all of the games. Hearthstone still makes a ton of cash. It's ridiculous. Like I keep not so subtly, it's not really a joke, but kind of joking that, hey, why'd you leave Hearthstone off? Aren't they your only game bringing in money at this point? Because like it ain't Overwatch, it ain't StarCraft. Like World of Warcraft isn't making as much money as it used to. And on the Blizzard sphere, I think it's Hearthstone.
That one was really weird to me.
You're talking about the image of all the games like Call of Duty,
Yeah.
Warcraft, Diablo, StarCraft, Candy Crush.
Sure, Candy Crush, I understand, massive moneymaker, but even at this point, with particularly when Hearthstone got the Diablo business, it is its own entity now. Hearthstone is a JPEG generator that sells massive amounts of packs and makes a lot of money. And to put it inside Warcraft as just the sphere, really strange. And you even prompted the question earlier, will Game Pass just be your World of Warcraft subscription?
Oh yeah, what does it mean for Hearthstone? Does it mean anything for Hearthstone? Oh, you've got Game Pass? Every expansion here is like 30 free packs or 40 free packs or whatever. Like there's all kinds of way you could integrate it. I just don't know. And that's where my big question is. Again, like to put a cap on Game Pass. Like I think everything that is a box product going to be there. I really don't know what it means for free to play and subscription based games under the ABK banner.
And I don't have any examples right now. While there are things on the Game Pass like the old KOTOR game, the Force Unleashed games, there's EA games on there like the Mass Effects. Star Wars: The Old Republic is still very much outside of that sphere.
You're right. Yeah, that's true. I do believe there's some kind. If you have the EA sub, I think you get something in SWTOR.
Right, you get like allowance of cartel bucks or something like that.
It's weird. I haven't played in a very long time, but I think it might be because if you just want to play SWTOR, there's free to play, and then there's like with a sub with perks essentially.
Right. And you get access to unique currencies and things like that kind of make the experience more hardcore, you might say. I know a lot of people that just like they do Final Fantasy, they just play through the Old Republic and go, ooh, new expansion, play, story. Awesome, I'm done. Bye.
It's a really good BioWare experience. Like when I'm finally caught up on Final Fantasy, I think that's what I'm doing next. Is I'm gonna finally play what I've missed in SWTOR. But yeah, anyways, it's certainly it's a really fun place to like stick your brain and daydream. Is like, what does Game Pass mean for all of these games that we like? I'm not too sure, but it's I think it's exciting for sure.
We have a very direct connection though to this announced survival game. And boy, this is like one of the most announcements I've ever seen, but it was announced in some degree.
Oh, you're talking about the big announcement this week.
Yes.
Yeah. The Blizzard has announced that they're working on a. I love that they're still referring to it as an unannounced survival game, even though they just announced it.
Unnamed would probably be more accurate, but sure, why not?
Yeah.
This was hinted at last week during the transaction, and lots of people claim that this was going to be nothing, insufficient, that this was simply a magician's hand wave to distract you. If anything, on release, this announcement seemed like more of a call to employment, more of a job opportunity for applicants rather than an actual consumer-based product.
It is, but like the timing, like I look at it and I'm like, I think this is a big about face to start rebuilding the brand. Like Microsoft is buying us, stock goes up. Oh, by the way, you like You like survival games? We got one coming. It's really just because we want to hire people. People are still getting hyped.
Yeah,
Like,
there's a lot of hiring going on at Blizzard. Naturally, I mean they've been a lot of people departing over the past year, but my Twitter is a cacophony of new hires.
oh, yeah, absolutely. They've been losing people right and left because on top of all of the harassment that we learned about, we already knew they didn't pay nearly as well as a lot of competing studios.
Yeah.
So it's just like, you're not. What are you gonna do? How are you gonna hold on to people? Anecdotally, I hear it's getting better, but I think it's because they need to. Like, they're kind of at a point where they have to pay a freaking competitive wage.
Right. Well, and we've heard multiple examples of tech industry in general trying to gravitate video game people over because they're very skilled. They're really good at what they do. They're just underpaid, and if they can convince them to kind of leave that dream, maybe they will make a website for a bank or something like that.
I feel that, man. Let me tell you, I've been doing a lot of contract work.
So this unannounced survival game is actually where Tammy Sigmund went, and we talked about her back on episode 408, which was only 2 episodes ago.
Yeah,
actually.
leaving the Heroes team.
This was the senior game producer on the Classics game team, including Heroes of the Storm, StarCraft 2, Warcraft 3 Remastered. They left at that time for an unannounced project, and this is that project.
Yeah, they ended up over there. I've seen a couple other people announcing that they're there. No one I really recognize. Tammy's the only one, just because of her association with Heroes of the Storm. As we talked about 2 episodes ago, she wasn't on the team for particularly long, but now off to work on this now announced survival game. Let's go back into hi, I'm putting on my Garrett the game player hat. Kyle, last year there was a game that really impressed us that we played a lot of.
Yeah.
Do you remember hanging out in Valheim?
Oh, I loved my time in Valheim.
That if I ever, we don't do this, but if I gave game of the year, that would have been my game of the year. I loved my time with that game. And the only reason I'm not still playing is because the updates have been slow and mostly around building, and I want new bosses to kill.
They couldn't keep up with the content that we burned through, and we burned through it pretty fast. It had a goal of beating bosses. We also had an amazing friend who was farming out of his mind, which definitely helped out a lot too.
Chad?
Amazing gear.
Chad.
Yeah, absolutely. Chad, amazing. And just an amazing architect too. Just a fabulous builder. At any rate, this is absolutely hitting home. This is why I play MMOs. I want to do something independent, and then I want to show up with my friends at the scheduled time. And Here's the Storm is very much like that. I want to get really, really good at Anduin so I can show up and impress Cavalier guests. Like, maybe not one-to-one like that, but still. It's just like, this idea that I can play by myself and then show off what I've created to my friends. And this does look like it's encompassing not only, our old producers in sense for Here's the Storm, but also a lot of people who are working on Diablo 3. A lot of very passionate kind of innovators, if you will, who have seen a lot of different projects recently. So if this is going to be a contained thought piece, that could be really interesting.
What do you mean by a contained thought piece?
What is survival? What made Valheim great? Can we, in old Blizzard mindset, take the thing like not Elder Scrolls. What was the thing with the lady on the cover?
EverQuest?
EverQuest. Yeah, I never played it. I just saw the box 1,000 times. But that was a distilling of World of Warcraft was a distilling of what MMOs were for a broader audience, a refinement at that time. And same with strategy games and everything else that Blizzard did in those early days that we came to love.
Yeah.
There is that opportunity to take survival games like your islands, your Rust, your green horrors, as it called. Grounded is another one of these that I think would be a blast to play. And make that a functional environment and put it out, and I'm going to say, in an innocent way. Like just a game that you can live in for a time, defeat with some sort of notoriety and feeling like you did it, and walk away. Or is it going to be ever growing, a living and breathing world, in which case we don't see it for 3 years in the future, and it's got all these caveats to it.
Well, it depends, I think, on what you want to get out of these, because for a lot of people, survival games are these things that they play every freaking day. I mean, going back to like the explosion of Minecraft, which is, it's easy to forget, a survival game. But
It's only worth playing in survival mode, in my opinion.
yeah, but there's a lot of people where that's their main game. And Valheim can be, especially if you're into the building side of things, but you're not.
No. I want to kill bosses. And I
am, but there's a crushing guilt that starts to sweep over me when I spend too much time building. I'm like, I could have experienced another game.
It's chill. Like, I've started a solo Valheim experience just because I really enjoyed it. The graphics are beautiful, like Minecraft. Minecraft is very beautiful.
It's beautiful in a retro,
way.
like low res way, yeah. And so for me, what set Valheim above, because I don't really care for survival games, but it was that sense of exploration. Really elevated it for me and gave me the closest feelings I've had to the first time I played World of Warcraft in a really long time. It was the first time I played WoW. Like, I remember cresting my first hill and going from one zone to the next, and just kind of being dumbfounded by how different everything looked, and like, oh, this is spooky, like getting to Darkshire, and like, what is this? And there's spiders and shit. And Valheim had that. It gave me that experience of, I don't know where anything is. Everything is potentially dangerous. I want to go over that mountain. I want to go over that hill. I want to see what's there, see that next biome. Biomes are a big thing in Valheim, and see the monsters that inhabit it. And every time I would discover something new, it was horrible and dangerous, and I died in horrible fashions many times. But then eventually I overcame that challenge, and it wasn't hard anymore. Like, I remember the first time I walked into a swamp in Valheim, I was terrified and I died horribly. And then 2 weeks later, I was farming swamps without a care in the world. And that's something I really like in video games, and it's something I haven't felt strongly about or had that experience and felt new and fresh since really vanilla World of Warcraft. And Valheim gave that to me. And now that I hear that Blizzard is working on something that sure sounds a whole lot like a Blizzard Valheim, I'm quite excited.
These arts, though, are very different. There's one that kind of has this, like, bridge to Terabithia. Maybe it's the sad version. Maybe, but it has this, like, you might be kids and you're riding your bikes in high school, and all of a sudden you discover a world beyond, castles in the distance floating, a whole universe to explore. I'm like, okay, that's definitely one vibe. And the second picture is like, you're gritty, lost on an island, but you became Apex Hunter #1. And also there's metalwork for jackal masks, which suggests some sort of primitive society. What are we making here?
Kyle, did you not watch Land of the Lost as a child?
Is that the one with the dinosaurs?
Yeah, with the fan. I think it was been remade multiple times, and it's even a god awful, unwatchable Will Ferrell movie now. But yes, the family in the station wagon go back in time, and then they have to survive in the time of dinosaurs.
It'd be fun.
It's totally a subgenre of fiction. The modern in quaint or fantasy environment.
I'm also just a fan of, like, waking up somewhere and I'll deal. I've got imagination. I'll just put it on top. It's fine.
I mean, that's fine too. But I mean, what better meta construct than for you and I, like people in the year 2022, playing something in fantasy? What are we but modern people trying to, wrap our heads around something set in an older time?
Fair. I
feel like you hated every word that just came out of my mouth.
No. I have watched so much Ark Survival. Like, that is something on YouTube that I will, take my cup and, like, clink it on the screen. Like, I got friends who actually play Ark Survival with me. Like, I live through other people playing that game because I think I would love it. But it looks like so much work. And it's such a time sink. And it'd be a main game. It would absolutely dominate my life.
Yeah. It's
also really jank, but, like, kind of in a fun way, like Valheim was.
Valheim's kind of jank. Like, although, again, another, I just want to talk about Valheim. The other thing I really like about the game, I legitimately liked its combat. It was simple, but it was really satisfying.
Valheim, and I've been actually struggling to kind of come up with this idea in the background here. I hate just spouting out Dark Souls every time anything is hard, but Dark Souls reinvigorated our joy of things like Mario, where you must always in every run through have respect for the enemy. And no matter how many levels you get and how high tier your weapons are, if you bite off more than you can chew and you pull too many guys and you disrespect and you don't block, you're going to fall. There's a power fantasy with Diablo and World of Warcraft that absolutely works. I am now level 60, you are level 5. Boom, blow away before my might. Absolutely, there's a place for that. But there's other types of games like Valheim where no matter how far you go, you always respect that first awful little gremlin you fought. And I hope when they make a survival game, that's what they're thinking of.
Yeah, I do too. I do too. I don't. It's interesting because usually I look at, like, I think about these Blizzard games. Like, I played Guild Wars before World of Warcraft. I didn't play like a more quote unquote hardcore MMO like EverQuest. But when I think about these onboarding processes for Blizzard games, it are always these experiences that I didn't really have an experience with outside of Blizzard, and getting into it. The onboarding process is always straightforward. They make it really easy to start playing a Blizzard game. And I do, like, I remember Valheim, like, I had to have a guide open. I didn't know what the hell I was doing when I first got in. But that's the only thing that comes to mind off the top of my head when I think, all right, Blizzard's doing a survival game. What's it going to be like? And I'm like, I don't know, but I bet you it's going to be really easy to pick up and play.
Ideally. Ultimately, ideally, and that's really where I kind of reach my breaking point is, and I just want it to be a game. Just like, build that goodwill here. You got this Microsoft transaction going on. Just put out a game and let it be the game at this point.
By all means, though, please keep updating it.
Yeah, if you want to add more bosses and cool stuff like that, go for it. But just, I don't want to have to.
Now, because of Final Fantasy, I'm really enjoying games that I feel like I'm going to play in chunks. Because I'm sure there will come up. Right now, it seems insane because I have so much Final Fantasy in front of me. But I'm sure once I, beat Endwalker and have had my fill of raids and stuff, I'll probably take some time off. But I know I'll be back for the next expansion. And at least when you hear from the devs over on that team, it seems like that's kind of what they're designing for. They don't want you to feel like you have to log in every day. And I'm enjoying that. And so more of that. But I played through Valheim. You and I had our goal. We want to beat the final boss. We did. We haven't really touched it since. I just want to game hop. I want to go have a complete experience and then come away. But I want to come back when you update it, when you add new stuff. I'm happy to come back. I don't need to be playing the same game every single day. That's where I'm at right now.
Yeah, even if it's jank like Valheim, where we had to make our own server, I would be a-okay with that.
That's not going to happen.
I know it's
Liz
not,
ain't
but
gonna do that.
I know, but then cost goes up and things get weird. There is a severe lack of trust that must be reestablished.
Yeah, I don't know, but I am excited to see all of our Into the Nexus community hanging out in a new survival game.
And that is often the joy of what a big corporation release can do, is getting people who normally wouldn't touch something like that to try it out. And then this world of possibilities open, like Hearthstone. I mean, we wouldn't have things like newer games like, Monster Train. Would we have Slay the Spire? I think that was post Hearthstone. Yeah. My brain's a little fuzzy around that time. But yes, absolutely. Yeah. That was post Hearthstone. But now I know a ton of people who play Magic the Gathering.
Yeah. There's always card games coming out, even if they're not, set the world on fire successful. But yeah, this is. I don't think this would have been my answer. I think if you'd asked me what game do you want Blizzard to make next, I'm not sure I would have had an answer. But I struggle to think of anything that would make me more excited than this after my experience with Valheim.
I agree completely. It's not so segmented that I simply eject it immediately. Like if they announce a fighting game or a shooter, it's very much that, like, I'm not good at that, and I'm not sure I'm going to become good at that in time for your game. Thanks for the offer. I'll keep playing when I'm decent. survival games are something that you do grow with. Overwatch, you needed a campaign so bad. So bad.
Well, now they're getting a Left 4 Dead E thing,
which might be really advanced, but might never come out. It is going to come out, but the advancements they showed off at that previous BlizzCon line were very cool. It's just been a very long time.
My hype is fully cooled off when it comes to Overwatch. I'm just not interested anymore.
Nothing wrong with that. Sometimes we grow together. Yeah, sometimes we grow apart.
It's fine. It's fine. Well, we kind of naturally went through this. Is there anything else you want to talk about before we put a lid on this?
Not really. I will point to our show notes here. You can go read about Bobby Kotick being a tool and missing his own meeting for this. You can go read about.
He was late. He was late to the all hands meeting that was all about him addressing the company.
And then left early. Like, it's.
And was this before or after
comedic.
He gave a statement blaming the stock performance on the delay of Overwatch 2?
Right, saying he would have never sold if it wasn't for those delays that people, not him, caused. Yet we hear these stories about him constantly pressuring the team to pursue new avenues of revenue and then giving up after 2 weeks, so they wasted their time.
Yeah, listen, I think a lot of us as fans heard this news and we're like, cool, Kotick out. Listen, your middle finger's not going to get a rest just yet. The dude's going to hang out till next year.
Yeah, and I don't think we'll see this survival in that time.
Oh God!
So hopefully there's a smooth transition that allows independent groups to continue their thought pieces on this, and that's what I want to see more of. I think the indie sphere has innovated so much in the last 5 years. And I want those, but I want them to have that polish, the campaign for They Are Billions is awful. Oh my God. Oh, it is awful, man.
I haven't played it. I know it's a game you like, but I can't speak to it.
No, don't. It's the best level of the Terrans. Like, just load up a game, fight the zombies, defend your outpost for 100 days. Like, it's a great game. But they put out a campaign for that thing about 2 years ago, and it was, it's bad.
That's how I tried getting into Frostpunk. Everyone kept telling me how much I would love it, and I was just constantly so sad and miserable playing through that game and listening to its story play out. I was like, I don't want anything to do with this. This is depressing.
Yeah, I would have been sad enough when it's like, we don't have enough food, we have to go soup. And I'm like, oh my goodness, that's so sad. Soup? Oh, jeez.
Hey, man, soup can be delicious.
Yeah, but then they're like, and the soup's made of people. I'm like, oh, you know what? Let's just not have any fun. Frostpunk.
Yeah, I it's a game I look at and I'm like, I get why people really like this. I don't like this.
Maybe I just think about things too much. Original Darkest Dungeon, incredible game. Adults in peril, awesome. They added a cart, like you find travelers out on the road in Darkest Dungeon 2, and one of them's holding a baby. And I'm just like, no, don't do that. Just race the baby. Don't put a dog in. What can you put a cat? Cats don't care. Just draw a cat there. Like, just don't mess with me, man.
You're a dad now.
I know. I tried. I try to keep it together, but sometimes you see a baby and you're like, my God, the trials of life.
Why you got to put the kid there? Yeah, it's an Invader Zim quote I use a lot. Why would you draw that?
Yeah.
Yep. That's how I feel about Frostpunk. Anyways,
don't go full soup.
Yeah, this is the conversation we've been waiting to have. Dude, I was really looking forward to having this chat with you, and this was really interesting and fun.
Naturally, it's a game that matches our interests, so we will, continue to talk about it to some degree. And I hope you all will join us eventually. Should announced survival game become a titled product at some time.
And I'd like to thank the CCL for wrapping up its season so we could have a week to discuss it.
Yeah, it was great, by the way. Like, we didn't really talk about it too much.
Yeah, actually, hey, 30K, can you calm down?
Yeah, just a little bit.
Those finals were real one-sided.
Yeah.
my, like, I was watching it and like Katie was doing other stuff and she comes back and it's over and she's like, oh, that was quick. How was it? I was like, kind of boring. Like, cause it was so one-sided. 30K is so good.
Yeah.
So good. And like that, it just happens. Boy, that's when you know it's a healthy esport is when you go, damn it. We had boring finals again. Cause it used to happen all the time in StarCraft. You remember every time we'd watch the season of GSL, it's like, you better watch the semifinals cause the finals are going to be a stomp.
Ultimately, in the format they chose, I do not begrudge them. I think it's a very fair and great format. Group stages have a lot of individual great games in them, but it's really hard to follow the through line as to what points were gathered where if you're new to it. But eventually you reach the playoffs, and the playoffs get good. But when you have a winner's bracket and a loser's bracket, the real finals happen at the winner's final and the loser's final.
That's how I feel. I like group stages. It's probably I think it's my favorite way to run most esports. Because I like the mini stories that come out of the initial groups. It's a very digestible like evening of esports to watch. So, but yeah, oh boy, 30K. You on fire so bad. I kind of checked out mentally because I'm like, yep, no, they're just styling. Okay.
They had everything to work for. I mean, Simplicity, just being the beast from the previous seasons, had to win again. And 30K was in a position to take it all from them. They trained something like 7 hours a day that week leading up. Like,
dude, it showed. Like,
it was
a
tournament
storyline.
Players.
It really was. You want a through line. That was it. I mean, 30K was the story of the season, and they won.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's a bad story. It was just the finals. It was just one-sided. So, anyways, here's looking forward to news of another one.
Excited for that. They tweeted out hi today, so they count as active. We'll see if they've got any announcements for us coming up.
Yep. So, anyways, I think it's gonna wrap it up for this episode of Into the Nexus. We hope you enjoyed our Microsoft Blizzard special. What we'll chalk this one up to. If you've got thoughts on the Microsoft Blizzard merge. Anything Heroes related, keep the emails coming, itncast@gmail.com. If you're supporting us over at patreon.com/itn, well, you can write us right there in the Discord. We've got a channel dedicated to questions for the show, so you can skip the inbox. Speaking of our Patreon, we want to thank our producers, Declan H., Sean B., and Mike R. You can catch us live Thursdays around 3 p.m. Eastern Time, usually at twitch.tv/amovetv, but today on youtube.com/amovetv, because Twitch was on fire for me. Couldn't get it to work. So anyways, follow the show on Twitter at ITNcast, and that way you'll be alerted to if we're streaming in a weird place or a weird time. But before we go, Kyle, dude, where can folks find you?
You can find me over at kylefergusson.com, 2 S's in Fergusson, for everything I'm up to right now. Though one of the big things I'm up to right now, I certainly want to point you over to Grinding Gear, youtube.com/amovetv, until they follow through with that update they've been promising. But for now, youtube.com/amovetv to check out the Final Fantasy 14 coverage that Garrett and I are making over there and just having a ball with.
Yeah, we just put up a sequel to our Wall of Dungeons, where we rank all of the dungeons we've run so far. So we have now ranked all A Realm Reborn normals, including the optional dungeons, because we did them all while leveling our new Heavensward classes. You went Astrologian, I went Dark Knight, and we decided to level that by abusing our instant queues and just running roulettes all day. So we saw a lot of the optional dungeons, and you can hear about our experience with that over at youtube.com/amovetv, which is also what I want to promote. So go check that out. Follow me on Twitter at GarrettArt. Let's Talk About Star Wars is back for this season of the Book of Boba Fett. Check it out. That's going to do it for this episode of Into the Nexus. Until next time, good luck and have fun, everyone.
Take care.
All right. Live chat, that's the show. Welcome to the after show.
We did
How
it.
you doing?
We did it.
How are you doing on this lovely YouTube channel?
This lovely YouTube day.
Kyle heard me yell and cuss a lot when things weren't working. This went smoothly once we went to YouTube.
Yeah, I mean, it's always rough too because there's that. What we need from all. What we need from all products and services is basically a declaration very quickly of it's our fault. We don't know why.
Yes.
Because when you're sitting in your room full of wires and tech and you've got the live stream and a second computer going and the cameras running and the HDs and whatnot, there's this part of your brain goes, surely something's gone wrong here. And I don't know what that is.
Yeah, need that info. Need that info. Need it, Kyle. I need it.
Tweets about bringing back StarCraft. I haven't seen that. Can you post links in here? Or I don't know if we have like rules set like that.
I know I can. I don't know if other folks can. Did you see, guys? Mike Ybarra and Simu Liu's tweets about bringing back. Oh wait, the Simu Liu is the actor that played Shang-Chi. Yes. Yes. Yes, it is. I saw his. I didn't see anything from Ybarra. Yeah, Simu is a great frickin' Twitter follow. The man is a big old nerd. It's great. Saw that one about them getting in Phil's ear about heroes. That wasn't Mike Ybarra. That was the guy for the Windows fan site.
Yeah, Windows Central. It's like one of their main news sources / podcasts.
Yeah, it is a huge site. It's very successful, and I believe does have like a relationship with Microsoft in some way. And when I say that, I'm assuming more like our relationship with Blizzard, where like we get interviews and stuff, but we're not officially in any sort of official partnership or anything. What's I say that? It's been a while since I've had an interview with anyone at Blizzard. But yeah,
understandable. I assume their workflow is greatly affected. If I was a manager and you came to me and you said, "Hey, I need time away from my desk to do an interview," I'd be like, "There's a lot of time away from our desks right now.
There's a lot of shit going on."
Yeah, I mean, and then you've got to wait for statements to come. Like, I mean, this alone, you walk into work digitally, mostly, but you end up at work and they say, "Hey, we just got bought by Microsoft." You go, "Okay, what do I work today? What do we do? What am I supposed to do?
How does this affect us? What do I do now?"
But yeah, more StarCraft would be great. It's a wild property to sit on. We've seen, now with Mandalorian stuff too. It's not like you can't work back the clock. There is no cosmic storyline that can't be recovered from. And StarCraft got a little big, and some of the most interesting things when it comes to that is the Scott Johnson interviews he did with Chris Metzen, and how Chris Metzen kind of paralleled his current life and experience and what he was going through and explored that through the story of StarCraft, which ultimately led to it being a much larger and possibly bizarre story than a lot of people expected.
I've mentioned as much that I didn't love Legacy of the Void. It went full anime by the end. It just like from the Western beginning of Wings of Liberty that I just loved to pieces to the end of Legacy of the Void. I was just like, oh, this got too operatic for my tastes.
Right. There's parts of it, like the early bits of Legacy of the Void, and the gameplay again is just incredible. I think they really pushed the envelope really well on design for an RTS and coming up with cute mechanics and stuff. But when like Artanis gets possessed, like there's some great moments that still work because playing Protoss is a power trip paladin fantasy, but they took it too far.
I agree. Well said. Ybarra's quote was a smiley face.
Yeah, I mean, that's about what you can give right now.
Yeah, what are you going to do? We got Browder back, and we're actually going to make that shooter now instead of cancel it. Like, what are they going to do?
Yeah.
Early stages for all of this. It's going to be so long before we see something. It's going to be a really long time before we see a game out of Blizzard that is a direct result of this merge.
Right. Well, and this, of course, this conversation about wages and worker issues is being had everywhere, not just video gaming. So
Oh,
it's not like Blizzard solving their problems is going to fix a lot of the whole sphere's pipeline problems. So hey, we got an interesting life lined up for us for sure.
yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Well, I'm going to bring the stream down now, everybody. Thanks for hanging. Thanks for chilling with us, chatting, coming over to YouTube, making the long trek over to YouTube. I know it's kind of around the corner from Twitch, but thanks.
Out in the woods here.
Very much appreciate it. And we'll talk to y'all soon. We'll see you tonight for patron games. We'll likely be on twitch.tv/Kyle
Yeah, that'll be on my
Fergusson.
channel.
Yep.
I had no problem last night, so I'm good.
Yep. But we'll see you then. We're gonna bring the stream down now. Thanks.